Good morning, students. Welcome to all of you once again in my channel. Today, we started this one new series for your poems, and the new poems we are going to see in this period now. The first poem we are going to see is that's the Legend of Northland. The poem is written by Phoebe, Cary. Very important poet and very nice poem. It is about the Saint Peter. Okay, this poem is one type of moralistic one, and it is a ballad. Ballad means a type of poem which is about specially the greatness or the glorious life of any legend, any person. And the second word, legend means what? Or legend means a mythical one story, which is historical story. Whether it is a proof, whether it is the means it is true or false, that we can't be decide properly, but we have to believe on this. This is the legend, especially the ballad, which is repeating in the folk tales, especially repetition from the generation to generation. This pass very easily, and up to us this is reaching. Especially ballads are about the knights, kings, then saint, monks. About them we are listening, we are writing, or we are singing the ballads. This one type of poem is the Legend of Northland. Okay, then let's start the poem. What exactly? If you are very new on this channel, please subscribe the channel and like the videos. Okay, we are going to see the poem Northland. What is this introduction? Already I told you that this poem is narrated in the legend. It is the poem which talk about the life of life of Peter, Saint Peter. In this, one lady who is very old lady, she is baking some bread, and here she make angered to Saint Peter because of her greed. She was very greedy. She is very greedy one about the shelter and the food also. She is not giving the food. The next one, ballad is a song narrating the story, short stanzas. The ballad are the folk tales, cultural popular, this one. And this is one type of poem, generation to generation it is passed up to the today. So let's start the first stanza of this poem. The first is stanza number 1, 2, first and second. Away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few, and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through. Now, see, the first stanza is telling that away, away from the north, in the Northland. It is into the Northland. Northland means it is a north pole, where the completely icy and cold atmosphere is there. And in the geography already we know that, where the days are, for the 6-month days are very long, and for the 6-month nights are very long. But in this winter season especially is having the longest nights, and therefore the hours of the day are very short, near about 4 or 5 hours only in the day in winter season. And in that condition, the peoples were just sleeping for the night and doing also the work at night time also, because of their daily routine. And here where they harness the swift reindeer, and here in this place the reindeer is a ship of this cold desert ship, and it is using for the traveling, where sledges is the one type of cart, one type of vehicle which are be carried by the reindeers, using by the reindeers, where is all over, wherever you see there is a snow, and the blanket of the snow is completely covered the land, and the children look like beer cup. Okay, when they are covering their mouth, covering their body with the furry coats and the sweaters, they look like beer cups, very little bit, and very sweet children's. And they are sitting in front of the parents, or sitting in front of the grandparents, and the grandparents are telling the story, telling the ballad, telling the legend of one important person which is famous in their land. So what is the ballad? In their furry and furry clothes, when they are using the furry and funny clothes, they are looking like a bear's cub, and they are sitting very quietly in front of their grandparents to listen the story of Saint Peter. In third and fourth standard, we are going to see what exactly happened in there and what is the story. But poet is giving his own opinion about it. Poet has also his opinion. What opinion of the poet? They tell them a curious story. They told me, parents, grandparents, that I don't believe it's true. Poet is telling that it is. I don't believe that it is true or false. I don't know this, and yet may learn a lesson, and still we can learn a lesson from this poem. Whether it is correct or whether it is true, false, I don't want to discuss about this matter. But I know that we are learning a lot of the things from such type of poems. Moral things. If I tell a tale to you. Here is a assonance type of figure of speech is given there. Tale. Both words having the different homonyms are there, having the same pronunciation, but the spelling is different. And when I am telling you tell, the story, tale means story. This tale means a story, and this is telling. When I am telling the stories to you, you may learn lesson. You can learn a lesson. That same grandmothers and grandparents also telling their children, telling their daughters, granddaughters. The exactly poet is telling to us like once when a good Saint Peter live in the world below, when the God's messenger like Saint Peter, he was preaching and giving the sermons on the Christianity. He was a great believer in the Christianity. And one thing we also know that Santa Claus, what we are calling, that is a Saint Peter. After the death, his departure, he became the Santa Claus. And here he became, when he was living on the earth, he was preaching, he was walk about for the preaching. Just he did whatever he was doing regularly, giving the preachers and giving the sermons for the people. And in the fourth and fifth stanza, what we are seeing, what happened with him. He came to the door of a cottage. Once he came to the door of a cottage, one house, a simple house, because of in traveling round the earth. He was traveling on the round earth. Round earth means on the North Pole it is very easy, because round the earth is on the pole. It's very easiest one, having a short distance. And he was just doing his work, where a little woman was making the cake. Where one woman was making the cakes and baking them in the hearth. So Saint Peter has seen this scene, and he wanted to take some bread because he was completely hungered. He was completely appetite. He had appetite and he wanted to some food because he was fainting. How much time? Whether it is a saint, whether he was a saint or God, if he is into the human form, definitely the hunger is the first need. And so being a faint with the fasting, he was completely fasted, he was completely hungered and had also the weakness in his body, and he was feeling the weakness. For that weakness he wanted to eat something or drink something, water. For the day was almost done. Day was almost done means only 4 or 5 hours a day was there. Short day, and therefore the day is passed away. The night is started. He asked her from her store of cake, and that Saint Peter wanted one cake, and he demanded one cake from this lady, to give him a single one, only one cake. Actually she has a store, she has a store of the cake, and still she is not ready to give one single bread. And just Saint Peter wanted, this is a saint, he is not a burglar or any other person, he is the great person, and he wanted just one bread for his appetite, just to finish his hunger. So she made a very little cake, and now she is thinking that a very big cakes there were. How can I give that person? How can I give? Because she didn't know that he is a Saint Peter and he is a great scholar of this Christianity and the great saint. He is giving the sermon and giving the preaching to the people, and she has not any kindness or generousness, we can say. She don't have any feeling about the humanity. feeling about the religion, and she was unknown about all the things. Therefore, she made a very little cake, very small cake than usual. But as it baking light, when she put into the furnace, she put into the hearth, it became very big again. Actually, she took very little dough and she made very little cake, but it became very large when she wanted to give that person. She looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. When she was giving, she wanted to give that cake, it was big for her. Again she has duffed. Again she needed some another duff, another flour, and made a very little one, more than before, very little, less than before that, and still a smaller one. Now again it is a smaller, taken a smaller again, but it look when she turned it over, and again what? It become large one as the first she had done. Again she was very curious about it, and she is very greedy one already, we know that, and she is not ready to give that duff also, that cake also, to the Saint Peter, and she could not understand this is a miracle. Then she took a tiny scrap of the duff as like a wafer. She's taken very small duff, small flour, and roll and flat. She rolled like a one chapati. She make a small one again, and it baked into the like a wafer. She baked like a wafer, and she wanted to give that to the saint, but still that wafer become a part of before, like still become a bigger cake, but that all the things making the time is all taking the time, and she was talking to herself, my cakes that seem too small, while I'm giving, when I eat than myself, when I'm eating myself, it should be small to me, it's not bigger one for me, but when I'm giving to that person, they are becoming large, they are becoming the large when I'm giving to that person. But this all the process had taken some time, and within that time Saint Peter was completely angered with this, because he was fainting, and in the hunger, the human cannot be understand what to do. So she become very angry one, and in the anger he has told someone, he thought he got that she is completely greedy one, and she is not giving anything to anyone. She is not having the humanity, or she don't have any kindness, generousness about other peoples. She is just thinking about herself. She don't think that whatever God has given to us, we have to share with the others. And she don't even had the idea that whatever she is doing, the very smallest cake, and it become a greater one, means what? God wanted to give the food to Saint Peter, and still she is a barrier between the God and the Saint Peter. So Saint Peter become the very angry, and in the anger for hungry and the faint, he become very angry, and therefore surely such woman was enough to provoke a saint. Sure, this was a very reason. That was a complete reason that lady has made him angry, and so he could not understand what to do, and therefore in the anger he has given the curse. He given the bad words to her and given the curse to her, that you are too selfish about the food and the shelter, and whatever he thought that you are not liable to live in the human form. You are not like a human, you are like an animal. Just like animals are collecting their food for themselves, they are not sharing to others, and they are making their home only for themselves, not others. But human being is something different, is different than other animals. Human being is serving to others and giving the shelter to others. Now why he was telling that she has not given the food even, and not given the shelter, both things she has not given. In that outside there was a very hard winter, very hard cold, and still she has not given a single word to the Saint Peter, and not requested to Saint Peter to come inside and take the warmth, take some food and take some water. Nothing. He was standing outside in that condition also, and she was baking the breads, making the cakes in the furnace, and that was making very angry, very anxious to the Saint Peter, and Saint Peter was given some words to her. What words he has given to him? Her. That 13 and 14 stanza we are going to see. In this, now you shall build as a bird too. You are not liable to give, you are not giving a shelter to anyone, you are not helping to others. Therefore, I am giving you a curse that you will build your house like a bird's. This, your house is only yours, not others. No anybody is there. So nobody is giving. So what exactly we are giving, we are learning the moral lesson that we should not be so much greedy. The animals can also feed their stomach. We can also feed our stomach. But whatever is remaining in our plate, we have to submit to others. We have to serve to others. Those are hungry and those needy. And you will build your house like a bird's, and shall get your scanty food. Scanty food, a small food, pieces of food. You will collect the food like a bird's. And therefore, by boring, you will see it in your house. You will see it on one place, and you will get bore a lot. You will not get food even easily. You will not get easiest way to live in the house. You will be like this, and the words coming true all the day in the hard dry wood. You will just see it into a dry wood, and where you will not get even the food. And the words of Saint Peter came into true, and she turned into the one bird. And through the chimney she went away, become the bird, never speaking a word. What could we see? She has not even said sorry, forgive me, it's my mistake. That a single word could not, she told it. She could not say. Now she could not, because she turned into the bird specially. On that moment she turned into the bird, and out of the top flew a woodpecker. And when she went into the chimney and came out from this, she turned into the woodpecker. She turned into the woodpecker bird, for she was a change into the bird. And what changes are there, and what we should learn from this one? The last two stanzas are there. She had a scarlet cap on her head. Whatever she was using the cap while she was baking the cake, she was using one type of cap, and that cap was kept on her head, and that was remain like this. But about her clothes, when she was entered into the chimney, entered into the furnace, that time her clothes, rest of the clothes were burned down, and she was turned into the black one. So that coal flame made her black colored. Only her cap was like a scarlet cap was there only. And the story finished here, the lesson is finished here. But the last 4 lines, they are very important for us. The poet is suggesting to all the schoolboys, every country schoolboy from North Pole to the South Pole, every country, that they can see this one woodpecker. They can see this bird into the wood, into the forest, everywhere. Where she live in the trees till this very day, and she is living till the moment she is living in the forest. So there is the story, and she is getting bored. Whatever the words are given by the Saint Peter to the woman, that came into true, and she's getting bored and living in the dry wood, dry forest, and just waiting for the food, waiting for the shelter, and not able to build her own nest also in the forest. Here the story finish, but the working with the poem, talking with the poem is remaining. The question answers are given here. The first question is there: which country or countries do you think the Northland refer to? Which countries are Netherlands and the Northland, especially they are referring in the poem. What did Saint Peter ask the old lady for? What was the lady's reaction? What he was demanding, the only one cake, a simple food he wanted from the lady, but the reaction was the lady was so greedy. She was not ready to give anything. How did he punish her? That last one you can write down. How does the woodpecker get her food? That's a general knowledge question, you know very well. She is getting the food from the just scanty food. She is taking her simple foods and the worms and such things. She is taking earthworms like this, insect, Do you think that the old lady would have been so ungenerous if she had known Saint Peter really was? She didn't know about the Saint Peter. I already told you that she didn't know that he is a Saint Peter, and therefore she was unable did like this. If she came to know before that, then what she has done like this, those her reaction would have been something different. What exactly? Write down the answer. Is this a true story? Which part of the poem is feel like the most important? Can you say that this story is a very true one? Yes or no? Or which part do you like most? What is the legend? And the poem is called the legend. Why it is a very legend? That answer you have to find it out. Write the story legend of Northland in your sentence, your words in 10 sentences. Okay. So thank you for listening to the story. Some questions are given here. That you find out the rhyming scheme and rhyming words that you can take out into the textbook. Thanks for listening to the story, and welcome to all of you once. If you haven't subscribed the channel, so please subscribe the channel, like the video and share the video, and learn more and more. Keep the learning. And please visit my blog philodindia.blogspot.com for your better motivational ideas. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care all of you.